this is where UFOs and alien activity was a big hot spot. But why? What are more of the actual details of these stories? Why do they believe this stuff? Well, let me tell you. So the Sherman family lived on the ranch, and that consisted of Terry and Gwen Sherman. And one day, the two, after shortly settling into their dream countryside homestead, they were startled one night by a very fearsome animal. So they had no clue what the heck this thing was. Maybe it was a coyote, maybe it was a wolf, but whatever it was 3 times the size of the animal that they were guessing it to be. They'd never seen something of this size on their land or anywhere else for that matter. They could also physically feel this animal, and claimed that it had a really overwhelmingly negative presence. But regardless of whatever it was that they were looking at, it was slowly stalking towards their livestock pen. So 6 inches in diameter, embedded deeply in the patch of snow. It had looked unusual. A single large print in the snow with 2 sharp claws protruding from the rear of the mark, going a couple of inches deeper. It almost looked like a birds of prey or maybe a raptor print, but huge, and from the depth of the print, a very heavy creature. For real. I guess, I don't know why they're still there, but I guess for them it's like, now that's like their validation. They're like, hey, there is something here. We're not just wasting our time. Like, we have to pursue this. We're on the right track. We're gonna discover something. So I suppose that for them, you know, equipment being damaged, seeing this, all of these things to them, they're like, we're on the right track. And as men of science, I'm assuming they just wanted to keep going, right? So anyway, their equipment's breaking. They're getting a little frustrated, and they'd been having a bit of difficulties within the area. So they'd actually, in their time, asked around to locals of this area, and the history and of the land and such. So a few people that they'd actually spoken with were actually Native American and had been in that area for a very long time. So they which was filled with fresh water in 1970 by federal government mandate. So in 1998, a police officer saw a large light plunge into the reservoir and then re-emerge, flying off into the night sky. One night in 2002, 4 young men standing on the reservoir shoreline saw a blue-white ball enter the artificial lake. That reminds me of Harry Potter so much. But anyway, according to Segway, it's my channel, I can say whatever I want. But according to the hunt for the Skinwalker, the glowing ball dove into the water just a few feet from the shore, then had re-emerged seconds later in a new form. A shimmering, maneuverable, belt-shaped shaft of light. After performing a brief, writhing aerial dance, the belt of light had zipped away at a high rate of speed, hugging the ground before disappearing below the top of Skinwalker Ranch. Isn't the history of it all interesting? Like, yeah, tell me all about, creepy animals and alien sightings or whatever, but I like hearing about why people, like, where it might come from, and I mean, I've had like a medium at my house once, and one of my friends, I told them not to do this. They asked her if my house was haunted, not my new one, and the lady was like, your house is fine, no one's died here or whatever, and she was like, but the land is screwed, and she's like, but it's not your house, it's just everywhere. And I found that so interesting. But anyway, segue. So the appearance of the supernatural around Bottle Hollow makes sense with the context of the Ute belief. Some locals among the Utes, springs and certain waterways were reservoirs of negative power. There were evil spirits or evil sprites that would rise up out of the water and drag you back in. That's terrifying. Ooh, spooky. But anyway, so that's a bit more of like what they'd kind of gathered, right? But anyway, so that's what the NIDS scientists had been hearing, and sure enough, as they'd continued their research, suddenly on top of everything that they'd noted, they'd now started to feel a presence around them, as if someone was there watching them. They'd claimed that they felt as if they were being touched. A lot of the researchers had experienced sudden and extreme memory loss, extreme vertigo, and flashes of time where they would not be able to hear. Yeah, that's pretty intense. So putting aside the explanations relating to kind of the indigenous folklore or lore, there was speculation around possible alien activity and secret government experiences. What is secret government experiment as well? So, with the ranch now having been passed into the hands of a new owner, the major new history series, The Curse of Skinwalker Ranch, will be kind of delving in even deeper to the mysteries of the region. So a team of experts using like hard science, drone thermography, and laser technology will be examining the whole ranch in unprecedented detail. So could they possibly find some answers? I don't know. It is interesting though that it has caught the attention of so many people, and that, I mean, even experts that have gone there and worked there have been like, intrigued at the insanity of it. And honestly, I want answers. I love this kind of stuff, and it is just such an interesting conspiracy because it's kind of rooted in some truth and history, right? But what I enjoy about it is this is like mid-90s, so it's more relatively new, you know, but I don't know. What do you guys think of today's story? Leave a comment below. I am very interested in any additional information you guys might have. It was a little hard to find some things, but with it becoming more popular, more info's coming out, I want to know more of what you guys know. Well, if you have not already, please like and subscribe to my channel as I put out new ASMR, true crime, conspiracy theory videos, and miscellaneous videos every Wednesday around noon Mountain Standard Time. And I'm willing and open to doing any recommendations or requests that you guys have for me. Just leave me a comment below or follow me on Instagram at Angelica.Joy. I think that's it. Anyway, thanks you guys so much. I had a lot of fun doing this one. I was a little too excited. I rushed through it. But I mean, I just have been prepping for this for so long. Like, look at all the print-offs I had to do. Tell me what your favorite is in this background photo. And please ask me to cover one of them. I don't know what my favorite is. I do like the little Illuminati corner here. But I like move a little so you can see some of it. But yeah, this was so much fun.